Hi guys, today is going to be basically more practice like what we did with yesterday's assignment from 9.3. So today we're going to look at dividing by a one-digit divisor, and we're going to be able to choose, thinking back a few lessons, we can either choose to use mental math or solve it with long division style using paper and pencil. So if you look at our first example here, we're going to choose mental math for these two problems. So let's take a look at our first example problem. I have 4,200 divided by 6. I'm choosing to use mental math here because I have zeros at the end. So I know this is a problem that I can break down and use my very basic division or multiplication facts. So I know that 42 divided by 6 is 7. So I'm going to put my 7 up here. And then this is when I get to count my extra zeros. So I have 1, 2 zeros. So I'm going to have 700 up here. So let's check that with a calculator to see if we've done that correctly. I can take 6 and multiply that by 700, and I get 4,200. So why don't you try this one? This one is 4 million divided by 5. So hit pause on your video and you're going to try this one by yourself, and then we'll check our answer. Alright. My basic fact that I know here is 40 divided by 5. I know that 40 divided by 5 is 8. So I'm going to put my 8 above my 0. There. Now I'm going to count the amount of zeros that I have. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. If I have 5 zeros in my dividend, that means in my quotient, I also need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. Now I need to place my commas. There's a period, and there's another period. So my final answer should be 800,000. Let's go ahead and check that with a calculator. 4 million divided by 5. And in my final answer here, looks like I have 800,000. So I'm good to go. So this was an example with using mental math. Now let's take a look at an example where we're actually going to need to solve our problem. So in this problem, I'm going to have 5,407 divided by 70. So I'm going to go ahead and use my steps, and I'm going to see how many groups of 7 can fit into 5. None. So I'm going to see how many groups of 7 can fit into 54. And 7 times 7 is going to be 49. I'm going to put my 7 here. So I'm going to need to subtract 49. That's going to give me 5. Now I have to drop down my 0. So now I'm thinking how many groups of 7 can go into 50. It's going to be 7 again. So I'm going to subtract 49 again. So now we're going to have 1. Now I've got to bring down my 7. So how many times does 7 go into 17? 7 goes into 17 2 times. I'll put a 2 up here. 2 times 7 is 14. That means I'm going to have 3 left over. So I'm going to make that into a fraction, and I'm going to have 3/7. My final answer is 772 3/7. Again, I can check that. I can type this into my calculator real fast, and I get 772 43/100, we'll say. And 43/100 is 3/7 as a fraction. So I'm good to go. All right, now you can hit pause and you're going to try 6,459 divided by 6 by yourself, and then we're going to check it. All right, first thing I'm going to have to do for this problem is I'm going to have to rewrite my problem. So my dividend, 6,459, is going to be divided by my divisor of 6. I'm grouping 6 into 6. 6 goes into 6 one time. So I'm going to subtract 6. 0, bring down my 4. How many times does 6 go into 4? 0. 6 times 0, 0. So I'm going to subtract 0. So I'm going to have 4. I'm going to have to bring down my 5. How many times does 6 go into 45? 6 times 7 is 42. Now I'm going to have 3. I'm going to have to bring my 9 all the way down here. 6 can be grouped into 39 6 times. That's going to be 36. And that's going to leave me with 3. So I'm going to have, this time my remainder is going to be 3/6, which can also be reduced to 1/2. So 1,076 and 3/6 is my final answer. Let's check that real fast. 6,459 divided by 6 gives me 1,076 and 5/10, which is also 1/2. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, I think that's the end of our practice problems for today. So be ready for your bell work tomorrow.